Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, his heart don't pump no Kool-Aid Sadiq. And as you can see, especially on Facebook, as I got something in my eye. Remember last time I got something in my eye? And we are going through a different format right now. Today you can see Donovan because he's going to be doing it's just probably just as much talking as me because by popular demand, and I'm reconnecting on Facebook anyway. While that's reconnecting, I want to say hello to everybody on the podcast. We have Spotify, we have Spreaker, we have iHeartRadio, we have Podbeam. We're also on YouTube. Let's see what's going on with my Facebook. It's just reconnecting. Probably because we got so much stuff going on. No. Okay. And so
everything's up.
How's everything going with you, Donovan?
Everything's going good.
Everything's
so
going good.
far,
So
yeah.
you ready for the show? Okay, so we're back on Facebook.
Yes.
Sorry about that. We were having some connection problems, but I think we'll be all right. And so, for today, we are going to be talking about all things finances because it was by popular demand. We've been asked to do a show about finances and how we can help the Black community and get a little bit more specific with like products and things like that. So there, for those of you guys on Facebook, that's why you also see Donovan because he is going to be doing a lot of the speaking. And so I'll give everybody just a couple more minutes to get
I'm not
on.
going to be doing a lot of the speaking, but I'll be answering some questions.
Right, because you're going to be putting your millionaire money-making, skills to everything. Because, we trying to be like you.
Tell them what I told you today that I think about doing.
This so-and-so says, oh, how's the weather? It's great. Oh, by the way, I'm going to Hawaii on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about going on Tuesday. Just because.
For a couple of days, you know.
Just because.
Yeah, I'm just going to, for a couple of days to Hawaii.
Yeah, I got an itch. I got to go and just check it out.
I almost flipped you the bird, but that wouldn't have been ladylike. And so anyway, all right, so we'll go ahead and get started because we don't want to belabor the point. And today we started a little bit late because I had some other things to do. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all the things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people. Also like to say a big, huge thank you to Donovan Sadiq for all the bells and whistles that you guys see here. On Facebook, you see a green screen so that YouTube will see all the images that he'll put when it's produced. He's also in charge of the podcast and things like that. So great big thank you to him. Also a huge thank you to Marcus Guyton for helping to spread the message of the show so that more people will see it. Hey, Alex, what's happening? So more people see it. So thank you so much, Marcus. And so I'll go ahead and get started. Because we got a lot of stuff to cover today. And, of course, my phone unplugged. That's fine. I got you, boo. All right. So by popular demand, we are going to be talking about all things money. All right. And today's show is also going to be called Ask D&D. So if you guys have any questions at all, and I promise you guys, I'm going to get to every last one of your comments. If you have any questions at all, please ask. And the D&D segment was actually given to us by Mr. Al Jackson. It was his idea to have a Ask D&D segment. So thank you to him as well. But first, let's give a little background on the financial state of the Black community. How to spend our reparations check. That is the topic that we're leading from. Okay. So we've been hearing a lot about reparations checks lately, right?
Absolutely. It's
been everywhere. Reparations. You can't turn the corner, turn on the water faucet without hearing about reparations. All right. And so, in fact, it is one of the most talked about topics among the 2020 presidential hopefuls. All right. Now, although reparations are not new, a group of African Americans called American Descendants of Slaves have renewed the battle cry. And I should also say this too. So ADOS is not necessarily a new term. It's been around. I've seen a couple of other groups as early as like 2015, 2014 calling themselves this. But, it's gotten to the forefront, right? All right. So like I said, the new ADOS crowd has made reparations their battle cry. Among other things. Okay, so AKA the ADOS movement began to bring more attention to reparations that was originally promised to us when slavery ended, but we never received them. It has been in the halls of Congress ever since, but has never really been taken seriously until now. All right, now keep in mind that the black vote is very important in every election, especially the Democrat Party. Republicans would like to have the black vote, but they have been getting by without it so far. Okay?
Absolutely.
So, needless to say, anyone who wants the black vote is being told that they must have a black agenda that includes reparations. Okay, let's say we finally get reparations. What are we going to do with it? Right? Will we save it? Will we invest it? Shut up.
Now that
Okay.
we found love, what are we gonna do with it?
Right. Okay. Or will we continue doing what we're normally doing with it? Now, what do we normally do with it, you ask? I heard you ask. You didn't say it, but I heard it, in your little mind. Well, what do we normally do with it, right? Well, to begin with, the it that we speak of is an annual $1.3 trillion within the black community. It is said that we give about 97% of that away via consumership every year, okay? Now, it is also believed that money circulates within the black community only about 6 hours. Now, the 100 richest people in America control more wealth than all of the black people in America combined, right? 5 of the largest white landowners in America own more than all the black people combined. So all the land that we own combined, 5% of the 5 of the largest white landowners own more than we do collectively. Think about that, okay? We spend 4% more annually than any other race, even though we have the highest poverty rate in America. At the rate we're going, it is calculated that it will take us about 228 years to catch up to white people as far as wealth is concerned. While it will only take Hispanics about 84 years to catch up. Now, right now, black people only own and control about 5% of the wealth, while white people own and control about 61% of the wealth. In regards to investing, we usually only invest investments like life insurance and real estate is a low risk investment, right? Because you're going to lose a house if you do what? Not pay. And that usually, few pay before they come snatch the key.
And a lot of the land has been being taken in the South
Right.
because of that. They're not paying the taxes.
Exactly. We are severely lacking in things like retirement plans, like 401ks and any other retirement vehicles that will help us stay out of the people greeting line at Walmart, right? Okay, so what are some of the things that we overwhelmingly spend our money on? Well, we spend about $6.3 billion on alcohol and tobacco, $3 billion on leisure time, over $400 million on hair care, toys and games about $10 billion, and $7.3 billion in charitable givings. And we know a lot of that is like tithes and offering, because we just go to church a lot, right? And then we sow a lot of seeds of faith and all of that stuff. So
we got those pastors with the classic cars,
right? And then I found a strange enough too, well, not really strange enough. We spent about 23 point something billion dollars in healthcare, in the healthiest people as well. Okay, so with all of that money we spend, only 2% of black dollars go into black businesses. We only need to spend 8% more, totaling about 10% in our black businesses to create 1 million jobs. So potentially 1 million black jobs. If we just spend 10% of black money in black businesses, okay? Now, we know the reason that the black community has been kept at the bottom of the totem pole of life is because of systemic, which is laws, and institutional, people, places, and things, racism. It's just a fact. Now, Dr. Joy DeGruy has broken down the effects of slavery into a science. Her masterpiece that centers around post-traumatic slavery disorder talks about how we as black people in America are still suffering, even though slavery has been over for years, right? Now, she says that we are a sick people, not necessarily in the sense that we are physically ill, but we are in many ways mentally ill and are damaged because of the effects of slavery. Okay, so she asserts that we need to be healed in order to move forward. And the first step is to realize that we are sick and that we need help. Okay, that's the first step to any of that. Now, digressing back to reparations, if we don't heal our ills, and I didn't try to rhyme, if we don't heal our ills and learn to do more with the money, the ADOS movement, and anything else like it will be in vain. All right. Now we're going to open discussion for any financial questions that you may have, and we will do our best to answer them. So let's talk. So I'm going to actually switch to my other screen so I can see you guys' questions because, you know, I got some good eyes, but they ain't that good. All right. So any questions that you guys may have, and I'm going to get to your comments, please feel free to ask them. All right. So let me transition. And of course, I don't see me on here live yet, but all right, maybe I'm on there now. There I am. All right, so let's get into it. You ready? Okay, so now I can read you guys' comments. Okay. So Alex says, hey, Eris, how are you? And so she's posted the link for anybody who wants to comment on the show. For whatever reason, if we're not friends, hit the link and you are able to comment or ask any questions that you like. All right, and so Al says, Pastor Matthew said in the Asian community, money circulates about 30 days, Jewish 20 days, white 12, and 6 days in the black community. Well, actually, in the black community, it's actually 6 hours. It would be nice if we got a day. But yeah, so that is about right. It's the equivalent of cashing your paycheck and like going immediately to where Jordan and alcohol and cigarettes,
cash loan to pay that loan that you got from the week before.
Hair, that's just immediately just
gone.
All except for 3%, and then off of the 3%, you're trying to pay your bills. You're trying to maybe do some investing. You're trying to take care of business with the 3%. But for a lack of better words, it's just a word that I use all the time. We trick off the rest of it, and so that is a huge problem. And so, like when we get our reparations, I'm not saying if, I'm saying when. When we get our reparations, are we going to continue to do the same things we're doing? Because we talk about this a lot, where Dave Chappelle had a skit on the Chappelle show where black people all of a sudden got reparations, but we spent it. One dude was driving a Newport truck, and he says, hey, man, did you get a new job? He said, no, I bought this Newport truck with my reparations check. Said Cadillac stocks had went up and gold and just, you know, the stuff that we mostly buy, stuff that's not helpful to us, stuff that's not created by us. We went and spent, in this scenario that he fashioned, we went and spent all of this money on stuff, and it just went right back to the people we claim oppresses us. And so, so Alice saying, 6 hours. And so we just virtually give, like we keep the oppressor rich. That's like, if you're choking me, and I say, here, would you like $5 more? You know what I'm saying?
More.
Please. Oh, here's $10 more. So why would I continue to fuel the fire to somebody who is oppressing me? And that's what we're doing. And so, listen, I want my reparations check. I don't care what nobody else says. I want my money. It's just a fact. But I guarantee you, you will not see Demetra in the mall or anywhere else tricking off my money. You know, like, we have all this land, especially in our neighborhoods, that are being gentrified to death. And I'm talking because I don't see any more comments, but our neighborhoods are being gentrified to death. But yet, we won't take the money, the $1.3 trillion, because I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit, because I've seen a lot of people, and some black people, but a lot of people in other races are saying, you know, you guys don't need the reparations. You know, or what are you going to do with the reparations? You're just going to spend it all back. And I'm like, well, that's for me to decide.
Right.
You know, it's not for you to decide, but to their point, are they right? You know what I'm saying? That's just a fact. That's just not a fact, but it's a question. Are they right? And so to me, I'm on the other side of it too. I'm like, if I was a politician, because a lot of politicians have money and businesses and stuff.
No, well, they make money that's why they're politicians.
Why not give them the money? Because we know they are not conditioned here yet to save the money. Why not give it to them? Because in that, all their 97% of their reparations is coming back to us. So let's say, like Marianne Williamson, she's a presidential candidate. She's proposing that we get $100 billion.
Which is a lowball number.
Dude, what's 97% of $100 billion? Isn't that $97 billion? Eventually, say, if she's giving us $100 billion as president, that means that $97 billion is going back.
into the
economy. Into the economy. It's not going back into, because I'm going by the calculations that we use now.
Now, also remember, the president can't give anything. The purse strings of the United States government through the Congress.
Well, no, I know that. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just for the
right, right. So yeah, we know that Congress has to eventually approve that. But I'm saying, since all of these candidates are saying, yeah, well, not all of them, but most of them, we're going to give you Negroes reparations, how big or small it is. But no matter how much they give us, we're really giving it back to them, especially at the rate we're doing things. I mean, can we just be honest? I think if we come to terms with that and realize that until we figure out why, like we know why we do it, is just conditioning, that we spend most of our money with people who don't like us. But when we realize, and Dr. Joyce DeGrew's analysis, that we are not well and we do those things, then we can try to fix it. Mm-hmm. So the other question is, should we get reparations? We should listen, because I know some of y'all going to come on my YouTube and like I had a dude from the ADOS movement damn near tell me he was a Terminator. Or we're trained.
Shutting our show down.
You know what? Yeah, he's trained to sniff out coons and Uncle Toms and stuff. I'm like, what are you, a Terminator?
Yeah, all because we highlighted Andrew Yang and his platform.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, we're going to talk about all the presidential candidates, if y'all don't mind, if you want, some information.
So you could be an informed voter.
Right. Okay, and then so let's see here. And hello to everybody that came on. So Al says, so will the reparations check be like an income tax check to black people? Income tax return, yes. It would be. It would be tax-free.
Yeah, tax-free, number one.
It would be tax-free, so yes. It would be like that. So however much they decide, like I said, I'm just using Marianne Williamson's calculations because it's easier. It's $100 billion is what she proposed, which when they did the numbers, they said it's about $7,000 per black person as we stand now.
And that's a low number.
It's a low number. I mean, it's great.
Unless she's saying annually.
Right. But even then, because there's a projected was like into the trillions as to what they actually owe us from the end of slavery until now. And so, yeah, I guess you can look at it that way. It would be some sort of a refund, if you will. But yeah, so until we realize that we need to fix.
See, and I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
According to her calculation, that is for every black person who identifies as black. So the reparations is not for people who cannot trace their descendancy to slavery. We got to cut those people off. So that 7,000 might actually be more if it's for the right people.
So my name is Humberto Gonzalez?
No, you don't get it.
But my friend.
No, we're not friends,
brother.
No, we're not brothers, brother. I don't see you. I don't see you with me walking in them streets when a black guy's been shot down.
I'm just saying, my friend. No?
No, amigo.
Okay, just checking. All right. So, let's see. So, hey, Alton, he says, with all the race mixing, who decides who gets what? And so I wish I would have read your comment.
Right.
But to Donovan's point, yeah, the movement is American descendants of slaves. Right. And so you have to have some lineage to slavery, right, which is...
And a lot of people are coming up with that same question, trying to say, well, it's almost impossible to figure... Yes, you can. You think about it. Slavery was not that far back. So you talk about maybe 3 generations, 4 generations?
Yeah, I mean, most of us...
4.
Because we old,
right,
can say, well, my great-great-grandma...
Right.
was on the tail end of slavery, if not, know...
And you got to remember, they kept records of their slaves. We were property.
Oh, them records going to come up missing.
Of course.
We only calculate there's about 30 of descendants of slaves.
But I'll give you a good example. My grandfather, he's about 95, 96 years old. That's my grandfather. He was born in the 1920s. So most likely, his grandfather was a slave.
Correct.
That's how you trace the lineage.
Right. Well, right. And
you know what I mean? So you're looking about 2, 3, 4 generations, so it's not impossible.
But you only know it's going to be some people, which, it's fine. That's just the process, People come out or whatever. They find a way to deal with that. But, to the point that I was making, I mean, it's like, if we get it, are we going to keep it?
Right.
That is the question. Are we going to keep this money that we get?
That's the $1 million question.
Can anybody answer that? Are we going to keep the reparations? And what are the solutions to helping us keep it? And what are we going to do with this money? And so Donovan has a bunch of things. I'm assuming you have some things. Donovan has a lot of knowledge as far as how money works. Donovan is a walking, talking example of how money works. I get a lot of money tips from Donovan. He'll call me and say, hey, the stock is hot. You might want to drop a couple bucks in it. And I drop everything I'm doing and I do it. Because one day I want to talk about, I'm going to Hawaii too.
Yes.
Instead of saying, my vacation is going to be in San Bernardino this week.
You know, one of the biggest things in the Black community that we have a problem with is we listen to people who have no money in their pocket. And we take what they say as gospel, and they, cutting the corners and stuff. We can't do what Aunt Becky from Full House does.
We can't.
We can't do that.
Got it.
Because we don't have that statistically and by fact. Do you know that they say less than 100 Black families have over $1 million in their pocket?
And that's sad.
That's nationwide.
Right. It's very scary.
And $1 million ain't shit nowadays.
And you're one of them.
Yeah, right.
So. Right, and so Al says, would you get the check if you work at a slave camp type of job? So I'm not, explain that. What does that mean exactly?
You work at Amazon. You work at Amazon, or you work in a warehouse, or you work...
Is you Black?
Right.
Is you Black? Then you get it, Right. And so, hey, James says, segregation now, segregation forever.
Yes!
Who was that?
George Wallace.
George Wallace. Well, this is crazy, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of touch upon that. So from a George Wallace standpoint, it's crazy, right? Because, they didn't want, us to even get in the same water with them, a swimming pool type of thing. So that they were on that kind of stuff. But now we see why segregation was important. I'm not talking about the Jim Crow stuff they were doing to the Jim Crow stuff. But segregation, because if you think about it, every other community is segregated. Every other community is segregated. You have a Hispanic part of town. You have an Asian part of town. You have a white part of town where a couple, whatever. Where is, as Dr. Claude Anderson always asks, where is Black town? Like we have some neighborhoods in different parts of the country that are still considered Black, but those are dwindling, as I talked about earlier, due to gentrification. And so why do people frown on it when Black people say we need to be segregated? Right. Have it segregated, that we have our own schools, we have our own everything. Because a lot of times, especially in the media, we hear about people complaining, well, at this school, they chopped off my kid's dreadlocks. At this school, they said my child can't do this and this, that. Well, it's like, well, if we were at our own schools, we wouldn't have those issues. Okay, and so let me go ahead on with the other comments. Hey, Robert. He says we do not need reparations until we form a national Black membership corporation. Self-cultured governance. We need national cultural infrastructure operating as a country. Nation. Reparations is due to all in the culture born up to 1979 because slavery has affected us. It has effects on our culture nationwide today. Well, that makes me in because I was born in 1978.
Okay, right. I'll take your word for it.
What you doubting me?
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Okay, so I'm counting in that because, I made it in. Well, so 1978. So that doesn't include people who were born, Black people are still being born now. I just need a clarification on that. But I totally agree with you in that we do need some sort of infrastructure in place. So, because, of course, you're going to have people say, well, you can't tell me how to spend my money. No, we ain't trying to say that. But the reparation is going to be in vain if we don't have some sort of a collective of how to make this money work for us. Because the whole point of reparation is to do what? To close the what? The wealth gap. The point of reparations is to close the wealth gap, not to go to the gap.
And to financially compensate those that were wrong. Right. Action.
So on one hand, we can't say, well, I want my reparations check, and you have the ADOS crowd talking about to help shrink the wealth gap, but then we don't do anything collectively with the money to shrink the wealth gap, right? All right, and so let's see here. Hey, Secret Guard. He says big money must be placed in an annuity. Monthly payments got 30 years. Well, true. A lot of people don't even know what an annuity is. As you said, annuity at its maturity pays depending on how long you have it paid for, but a lot of it is for a lifetime, and it has years attached to it as well. So you decide if, let's say you had an annuity, so when you retire. Okay, and so let's see. I hope I didn't miss anybody's comments because I hate to do that. All right, and so Al says my step. No, and all right. He says my stepdad's side piece said she should get. I knew that was going to happen. She should get the check because she's his sex slave. I just don't even understand.
Yikes. No, keep going.
Okay, and so we are reconnecting on Facebook, so I do apologize to you guys for that. Okay, and so Hannah, you says you're going to give it right back to the white man. Sorry about that, you guys. I don't know what happened, so I'll continue. All right, and so Hannah says you're going to give it right back to the white man. We don't produce anything to spend that kind of money on among ourselves. White cars, homes, clothing, food, luxury items, schools, and the rest. And it's true. That's what we're going to spend the money on. We're going to spend the money. We're just going to keep doing it. In fact, I hate to be negative because negative is not something I do, but we're going to go and buy more of the same stuff that we buy now with no money. That's exactly what's going to happen.
And then when we are out of money, we're going to be back again crying and complaining about, well, the white man and this, that, this.
And as Secret Garden says, Al is improving on the jokes. Yes. And then, so Marcus says, what guaranteed investments? All right. Come on, Guru. So Donovan's going to tell us about some guaranteed investment. Get to the long last comment. So also says, so if a black woman married a white man, would her child be compensated?
No.
Oh, well, hell, handle it, brother.
Yeah, no, absolutely not, because the lineage has now taken care of itself. Now, she could probably get compensated, but her kids won't.
See, that right there, to me, is going to ruffle.
For a half-breed in the modern age, no, you won't be able to get this money.
So my man can't get no money?
Unfortunately, Al won't be able to get the money.
My man getting his money.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
as long as we because reparations is for a specific group. It can't be for everybody. A rising tide lifts all boats. That's a bunch of bullshit.
You know what? Again, I'm just going to say this. I think we treading into dangerous grounds when we
but
decide
unfortunately,
who is black enough.
If we can't,
because to that point, hell, we all got some white blood in us.
Of course we do. But again, if I have both parents that can trace their lineage, black parents that can trace their lineage to slavery, I should get that money.
Well, if I got one, that I count.
I don't know. Like I said, that's going to be, but I'm just saying, then the point is they use that excuse not to give us reparations because then it's for everybody.
Right. But see,
reparations is for a specific group.
Okay, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to move on to let you answer Marcus's question. But so when we do that kind of stuff, we in turn, do the stuff that they're doing, and we muddy the waters. It's like, golly, there's like they owe us a lot of money.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's why $100 billion, if they're going to be doing all that, that's not going to be enough.
Well, they need to give us more money.
Exactly.
Because per the census, I could say that I'm black. Who are you to tell me I'm not?
Right.
So I'm just throwing it out there, okay?
Right. But that's the excuse that they use not to give us reparations.
Okay, so answer the question, and I'm going to get to you guys the rest of the comments.
Okay, here's the thing when it comes to finance, and I know not everybody is going to be involved in investing and stuff, but we have money for weed. We have, for the dime bag. We have money for alcohol. We have money for weaves. We have money for our nails. We have money to send the kids to Disneyland and all this stuff that we just have. I mean, there is money in the black community, but like you've been saying on this show and what we've been saying is, we're just going to trick it off and just throw it away, which is what we've been doing for a long time. So the first thing that you're going to do, and you say, well, how does the white man do it, and how do you do it? When the government shutdown happened a couple of months ago, I was getting dividend checks from Boeing and a lot of my stock options because I invest in stocks. So
no, I don't want to talk about Boeing right now.
Well, no, we can talk about Boeing. It's all good. That was a software flaw, but that's a different thing. But so that's why I get not a good portion of my money, but a nice little check comes to me when everything splits. So the first question you got to ask yourself is, how much money do I need to start investing in stocks? Do you know that it takes as little as $5 to invest in stocks? That's not even a pack of cigarettes.
Oh, I lost my question.
You know what I mean? That's not even a pack of cigarettes. So to get started. And number two, how much money should I invest in stocks? Now that depends on what you're going to do. Do you guys realize that white people invest in their children? Their children becomes a commodity. And black people as a whole, we don't do that. So if they gave us reparations checks right now, we would take that check and we'd go buy a Cadillac. Right. We'd go buy for us. But instead of taking that money and saying, you know what, I'm going to invest for my lineage and my legacy and pass it on down and put a little thing, we don't think about stuff like that. But to make a real quick question and answer a real quick question, those are the first two things you need to ask yourself. And I'm just going to cut this as short as possible. I can just answer questions. The most guaranteed stock that you are going to get right now is in the defense industry because we are in endless wars. Now, the first thing that I said was Boeing. That was the first thing I said, right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Boeing gets trillions of dollars in defense contracts. Northrop Grumman, anything that's Raytheon, anything that's attached to the defense industry, that stock never goes down. Even if it does go down, because it is so high, you're still making money. I mean, you don't lose any money off of that.
Okay, so save that point right there. So we'll move on to the other ones in just a second because I want to get to these comments. And I apologize for the connection. I actually disconnected my connection because I think we got so much stuff going on.
No, they didn't.
Oh, what you saying? I got the good, I'll pay for the good Wi-Fi?
No.
All right, so let me get to your questions here. All right, so let's see. Because I have to go back. All right, hey, Sean, how are you? So he said, this is a serious question. The number of generations people born today is a major sticking point in the debate. Yes. How do you determine who was directly affected by slavery? Well, all of us were. Yeah. All of us were and are affected by slavery. I mean, in 2019, we still have systemic and institutional racism. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to just take it something real recent, now, it wasn't direct racism that these rich white women, the actresses and stuff, these 50 people who got caught up in
it's more than 50.
Yeah, what is it? The university scandals when they're paying millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get their already rich, spoiled kids into school. Mm-hmm. Well, what happens when they... That robs somebody else who's probably been denied for a whole host of reasons. Probably a lot of people who don't have the money, which is probably somebody of color. So that's institutional racism.
Well, it's not just racism. It is white supremacy. They are doing everything they can to keep us from getting these advantages to be on the level that they are on.
Right. Or, you know, when you can't, as a black person, walk into a bank and get a loan that somebody white would get, and y'all have the same credentials credit-wise for the most part, and you get denied and they get accepted, that's racism, that we're still being affected by that, and that's the stuff they used to do to us.
Right. Now speaking on what you just said, when I'm talking stocks today, do you guys know that if you're enrolled in stocks, they have clubs, lending clubs, where because I'm a stockholder, I can go and borrow without going to a bank.
Oh, yeah.
And lend and get money from there. And that's why I keep my wealth without having to have any oversight at a bank.
All right. And so Robert says, can we build sovereign nations similar to the Native Americans only as a guide? I would say so, yeah. It's very successful for them.
Well, technically we are a nation within a nation if we would try to come together. But you always got those ones that want to be outside.
You ain't black enough.
Right. That's right.
Right. So, yes, I like that, Robert. And so Hannah says, if the Klan would hang you, you get a check. Wow. Because, you know, at the end of the day, and I'm glad you made that point, Hannah, just like the police, like we have this thing in our community. I know colorism is in everyone's community, but we have it especially in our community. Oh, you too black. Or you not black enough. But a murder police bullet ain't going to say, well, just how black is you.
Yeah, exactly.
Is you black, or is you just a little black? They're not going to ask you that. They don't, as they get ready to put 16 bullets in your back, they don't say, well, that's a mulatto. They could be that. They're kind of one of us. What do you think we should shoot them? No, they shoot you. They shoot your black ass. So that's why I'm saying we need to be very careful and try and to stay away from who's black enough. Right? Okay, and then so Robbie says reparations is to build infrastructure. Correct. Not to go to the mall and continue to help them build an infrastructure, not to continue going and spending what, what was it, $1 billion or whatever, women spend on weaves. That's not what it's for.
$4 billion.
Like, I don't have a lot of hair, but I don't have a lot of money to go buy hair either. I'm not gonna go spend, I don't know what bundles cost. What is it, 200, whatever, but that goes to show you how far removed I am from spending money on stuff like that. I don't even know how much bundles are, but I'm not gonna go spend $200-$300 on bundles, and I got a past due light bill. Because when the lights go out, you ain't gonna be able to see those bundles. I mean, I'm just saying, so we got to start thinking short term and instant gratification, if you will. We got to start thinking in the long term. Like, what do we want to leave our kids when this is all said and done?
Exactly.
Do I want to leave them a bundle?
Exactly.
Because my daughter don't want no bundle.
If they give us a reparation check, and let's say the reparation check is $50,000. If you take that money and you invest it wisely, even if it's in an IRA account, and you have a grandson or a young child, that child's education based on that IRA will guarantee its education.
Al got jokes. He says, you and Donovan can spend the reparations check on some better studio equipment because the picture is blurry at times since I don't get a check.
Here's what you got to understand, Al. The government is cracking down on Demetra K. The government is cracking down.
I ain't doing nothing. And then I also, Al says, money on a dime bag, that's funny. Donovan rolling on the floor.
But the thing is, we do. That's what we spend a lot of our money on.
And then, let's see, he also say, people can't be slothful once they get their rep check. Well, I guess, you know what, I would say this too. Black people, like, yeah, we see some of everybody, every race that dresses poorly, if you will. But I don't care what nobody say. It is a known fact that black people are trendsetters. We can go out of here in the trash bag, and rip it up with some Jordans, of course, and everybody gonna want to do it. So black people set the trends. If we would just realize how dope we were, as a fact, if you read it, it says that the fashion industry is driven off of black taste.
That's right. Tommy Hilfiger said, even though he made money off black folks, he said he didn't want us wearing his stuff.
Right, but look at all the other designers who take our stuff and, whether some hair stuff or clothes, and then say, oh, it used to be a Bantu knot, or what we call them, or some Get It Girl braids, and now they call it some, Hollywood French braids that Kim Kardashian started wearing. It was like we was wearing that, 6 days before press day, before we had to go to church.
Shit, we were wearing
Those was called plaits in our neighborhood.
Yeah, we were wearing that back in the movie Roots. Come on now.
Right. So, but I'm just saying, so to Al's point, to piggyback off of that, black people are trendsetters. So we need to realize that as well. Okay, so what else we have here? And then, hey, Charles says, I like the Native American guide. I like it as well. And then you're replying to Al, give it right back to the Koreans and Arabs. See, that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid giving it back to people who are not like, listen, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Wouldn't you, if you knew where there was a gold mine somewhere and you didn't have to work hard to get there, wouldn't you set up shop there, rake in the money?
You can choke them out, beat them up, kick them out, and
go home.
And they still patronize
Go
you.
home.
And if they decided to protest you, just put half off.
Right. Make the weave, the bundles half off, y'all.
And they'll be lined up.
Lined up, and then cussing out the brothers who standing up there to defend you because you just got your ass whooped. Like, whooped. And now you cussing bruh man out because, nigga, shit, you ain't gonna come between me and my half off bundles. This ain't good to us.
Right.
The same dude who just whopped you in your mouth is not trying to sell you some bundles half off that he probably marked up in the first place and you can't count, so you don't realize you're probably paying around the same for him anyway. You know what I mean? All right, and so let's see. And I says, you don't have to spend money on bundles because your hair is real. Yeah, I just listen. And again, I don't want to make this like I'm natural and you got bundles, because I don't care what you put in your hair. It's not my money. I think people should do what makes them feel beautiful. But if it comes to a point where you're spending more money on bundles than you are on books for your kids, or the kids don't have a computer so they can, I'm not talking about so they can be on YouTube and watching all these other people making, you guys know how much people on YouTube make? Like millions.
Talk to your girl, Lori In the scandal, the girl
I mean,
that's in
just
the scandal.
lots of people. So I'm not knocking people on. Hell, I'm on YouTube. It's not paying me any money. I'm not on YouTube for the money.
Yeah,
okay?
we're not there monetary.
Right. So, but you having bundles should not usurp the necessities in your household. That's just backwards. You fine as all outdoors, but your kids can't like that is a pet peeve to me, you guys. I'm gonna just put that out there. People who have kids who should be speaking can hardly conjugate a sentence or put anything together.
Well,
like spend some time buying your kids stuff they can use.
Well, here's what's sad. People use the excuse of, oh, I got to get the best and the brightest. To surf the internet and do all that, you can get an XP system. $200, $150 now, I think it is, because they don't support XP.
Or just get a book.
Right.
Just get somebody. Don't have to be electronics. Get some books. Books over bundles. How about we start that campaign? Books over bundles. I'd rather be bald than to have my child, can't read. I'd rather be bald campaign. How about that? All right. And so Alton says, isn't investing in the stock market just giving it back to the white system? No. Because go ahead, break it on down.
Well,
that's not even my. No.
Well, no, it's not giving it back to white man, because what it is it's technically gambling. But you're gambling on a plane to where your return in your investment is, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but you're almost guaranteed not to lose.
And then two, if you don't want to do the stock market, how about a life insurance policy that has what do you call it? Oh gosh, we get cash value
out of it.
And it's that part of it is invested into stock market. You can do it aggressively or non-aggressive. There's a whole host of things you can do. But the point that we're making is that's how they come up. That's how they make their money, is off of life insurance and stocks. And when I was doing my research, it is said that we are afraid to invest, which, if you don't have a lot of money, it's not wise to invest in high risk vehicles or products, but we are afraid to do it at all. So if that's how they're playing the game and winning, why aren't we doing it too?
And here's the number two reason why the wealth gap is between us and white people is they pay down their debt. They stay out of debt as much as possible. Now, I have debt, but it ain't like debt. The house is paid for or whatever, you know what I mean?
So you basically ain't swiping the cards for
Jordans resources and stuff like
bundles
that.
And eating out.
Exactly.
Like eating out, and that's another thing too I'm gonna touch upon. Let me get to you guys' comments, all right? And so let's see, Al. And I want to say just too, as far as the stock system and the white system, I mean, we already giving money in the white system. Why not invest it in a white system that's going to pay you a return on your investment? And then
it helps you save money.
Because and I'm not saying this as a dig to anybody, because I know we're just asking questions, but let me ask y'all this. How much of a return on your investment did you get from buying the last pair of Jordans you got? Not saying you bought Jordans, I'm speaking to everybody. How much of a return of investment did we get? And I keep talking about bundles because it's the only thing that comes to my mind right now. But how much money did we get back from that? Right. Or from the alcohol and tobacco and, even the church? How much money, tangible, I ain't talking about something's going to fall from the sky and bless you. I'm not saying that, because I'm not even speaking against blessings. I know blessings exist. But I'm saying, how much money did you get back from investing in tithes and offering? I'm just asking.
Exactly.
Were you able to go to the benevolent fund and say, hey, my light's getting ready to get cut off. Can y'all write me a check? And did they write you a check? All right. And so.
And how many of us are part of you've worked at this company so many years, and you are invested in 401ks, and we leave that 401k because we don't understand it.
Right.
And it just sits there and you don't know anything about it.
Correct. And so Al says, my family should get the check because they are really black enough, darker than your cell phone screen when you cut it off. Yes, Al's peoples are very, very chocolate people.
Yes, but Al, we happen to know his father is right over there. That's a white man. No, I'm just messing with
it. It is what it is.
It is what it is. No, right. I hope everybody can get a check. That's my
and Charles says, ass backwards, fucking fake, cool, consumering black folks. That's Charles's words, y'all. I just read it, okay, as it was. I just read it, but no, I feel your pain. I mean, it is frustrating to know that we are consumers and not producers. We produce very little. Like, name a grocery store chain that we have as a black chain.
We don't. I don't know any.
We used to have some.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few here and there, but I'm saying.
Oh yeah, Elijah Muhammad's stop one.
Oh yeah, well we know the Nation of Islam. See, people talk mess about the Nation of Islam, but the Nation of Islam got their stuff up and running. They got stores.
They had dry cleaners.
They still have all that.
Yeah.
They have schools. They have dry cleaning. They have grocery stores. They have farms. They have all of that still. So, we talk stuff about them. So anyway.